Good day, everybody. It's the 3rd of December, 2024, and yeah, I'm four or five streets away from Nesvisi Street, and some nice building here. This is a school, actually. I wonder what these kids are doing around here, if this is a school. A lot of them. They wonder what I'm doing, and they hear some foreign language. So, I don't know. I'll just walk around and see what this place looks like here. Just out of curiosity. Maybe they'll think I'm some kind of a, in the West, obviously they think I'm some kind of a guy with a problem, because normally a lot of them are hanging out around schools or something, but they don't really have that here. Still trying to adjust this thing so it... Okay, we have, some strange news. Again, Donald Trump hits the news. Maybe he's going to be trying to do this as many times as possible before he is inaugurated. But this time, it's a huge, huge threat to, Hamas, I guess? Oh, look, there's a little, I wonder what, see, it's sometimes these schools here, let me interrupt myself, has a lot of different grades. It's not like an elementary school in the States and a junior high and a high school. This is very possibly, maybe it has, I don't know, many school years, all in the same school. I've noticed they do that. And I think there are some ways where you can switch to different schools if you live in the area. It's not like you have to go to this school. I'm not positive about the system and how it works. So anyway, let me go. Well, see, look at this. I don't know if you get a lot of this in American schools. Some nice AstroTurf. Looks like children's soccer. It's not 100 meters, obviously. But look at this. Also, there's a gym in the basement. A gym where everybody can work out. Apparently, I think they can work out here too. So, I'm at a loss. I just met somebody that was in my class and he goes to the gym here, so that's how I know this. What is this? Some kind of a nice building over there. Well, at least you get a picture of how things are maintained for the most part in Belarus and all that. But most of you are here for the news, as well as maybe getting a glimpse of what it's like in Minsk, Belarus, or anywhere. As a matter of fact, it's like this in lots and lots of towns all over Belarus. So it's not like, oh, it's Minsk and everything is more beautiful. A big contrast if you go to Germany and you see Berlin. Boy, oh boy, bad shape. And I remember the old days when I used to come here, I think 2000 and 2000. I came a few times in the old days, but maybe, 2001? Or whatever, and Germany was much better. But over time, like in 2006 or 7 when I came here, I'm saying, wow, it's almost like Germany here. And now I have to admit, Belarus, if you want to look about the quality of the buildings and the roads and how everything is maintained and so many other things, it's beyond doubt Belarus is better than Germany. Maybe you earn more money in Germany, but everything is much more expensive. So anyway, I don't want to go into a big thing like that when we're supposed to talk about the news. So stop trying to sidetrack me, because I get sidetracked enough. Okay. Anyway, I'll get around to Donald Trump in a minute here, but first let's say talking about what's going on in Syria. And apparently I've seen these reports, at least this morning. I've been in school, so I don't know what's happened the past 4 or 5 hours, but apparently somebody laughing there. But apparently these terrorists, the U.S., the U.S., I don't hear about EU, but the United States, Israel, Turkey, and Ukraine are backing these terrorists that are making these attacks and trying to do who knows what. I guess they say I've been hearing that the aim is just destabilization of Syria. And it's a weird thing that you saw Erdogan, he's talking about how terrible things are in Gaza and all that, and that he's out for the territorial integrity of Syria, and yet he is a part of this as well. And I think he pretty much admitted that, or at least he tried to avoid coming out and saying that, but he gave indications that he's definitely involved. And these captured terrorists that they're getting, I guess it's the Syrian army, not the Russians, but Russia is maybe doing some of the major bombing raids for the Syrian army, the real Syrian army, not this other one that what is it, the Free, I don't know what they have these names, you know how it is, the Free Syrian Army. I'm talking about the Assad's military, but Russia's doing some of these bombings, and but the Syrian army, they captured some of these terrorists, and they admit they're getting paid by Turkey, by officers in the Turkish military. So surprise on that one. And we all know Israel's involved, at least they are most of the time in sneaky ways, and they've always been involved. And I think they've even come right out and said, or at least hinted, that they're in support of all of this sort of thing. So that's pretty strange. You know, they got this big, huge operation. It's sort of like it came from nowhere, but it really didn't. And some people are accusing Assad, oh, he saw the indications and he didn't do anything about it. But I don't know about that. And the Ukrainians that are involved in this, apparently there's some highly trained Ukrainians, and they're using like instruments, and that's what they say, that's Ukrainians. Maybe, you know, but that they're using this equipment, you know, that pinpoints targets and does tack jams. I was in a unit in the Army, and we were, our unit had, as a matter of fact, even the directly where I was working in one of these units, they had tactical jamming devices, and there are like parts of it, some of them are like smaller than the palm of your hand, and they're worth $50,000. And one I remember calling the hockey puck. It was like looked like a hockey puck, very strange. And I guess you plug it in, and a lot of these things, they jam the signals and all that. And of course we had translators, you know, when they intercepted signals from East Germany and Russia, that they listened in. I don't know, I think I told you all about that, blah blah blah. But anyway, there's a lot of that with high-tech, very expensive equipment, and apparently what they say is Ukrainians are mostly manning these things. It makes me wonder if there are Ukrainians that are born and lived and raised in the United States. But I don't know. That's just what has been said. I don't know if a lot of these reports, if they have the great information or not. But I already told you about some of the sickening things that these terrorists, when they get people in the Syrian army, 8 of them or something, and they just machine gun them, you know, while they're standing there, and some of them are wounded, and they just, and it's with a smile on their face and machining. But that's what, remember they were doing that stuff before, and somebody eating the heart out of one of them, cut his chest open and stuck it in his mouth, you know, to show how badass they are. And yeah, in those days, in that time, that Syrian thing, there was a lot of British involved. Makes you wonder. I don't know about right now, because nobody's talked about the British being involved in that. Yes, and this ceasefire that Israel is supposed to be, have they made with Lebanon, I guess they started violating that right away. I mentioned it in the last video. Immediately they started violating and bombing, and now I guess by the time I was writing the stuff down and doing it, they had bombed over 100 violations of the ceasefire, bombing places all over the place. Hezbollah has been maybe starting it, you know, giving it back to them as well. So, you know, that's how that's going. In other words, there is no ceasefire anymore. I mean, you look at that's par for the course. Anybody that makes any deals with Israel or the United States, they're not going to follow it. They're going to jump out of it at some point in time. It's strange that the United States sometimes holds some of these deals for a little longer period of time, but Israel never does. You make a deal with Israel, immediately they're never going to obey it, or they're never going to honor it. It's like, I don't know, if you told them that they have no honor whatsoever. In the old days, honor used to be something. It used to measure for something. But nowadays, people that don't have any honor, no big deal. No big deal. You know, liars, cheaters. I mean, that's, what did Pompeo, as I already said, we lie, we cheat, we steal. He didn't say kill, I believe, but they do a lot of killing. He was referring to the CIA. There is no honor. These people don't make any agreements. Matter of fact, even amongst themselves, what was it? The French were supposed to be getting, or was it a deal or something with submarines? And of course, you know, even amongst themselves, they renege it. And I believe it was France supposed to be building submarines for Australia, and I think the U.S. kind of undercut them and started selling them to them, and it's like, tough luck. I guess that's how that was. Yes, and what else do we have here? I gotta look at my notes, because I was in class, like I say, and I wrote this stuff earlier. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, Trump's piss plan. No, that's Zelensky. Zelensky had a piss plan. But Trump's peace plan. I don't know if there's anything to do about this buffer zone that was originally put out, because this peace plan, I guess, that comes from this Hague's guy or whoever the guy that he's chosen for the Secretary of Defense, but this is in writing. I'm going to get off this noisy street here. This one, it was in writing. So Trump admits to this. This is a peace plan, and it's not going to fly. That's obvious. Russia's not going to go for that. You know, and it's very similar to what you've been hearing. And Zelensky, obviously, he talked with Trump, and he already got the lowdown, because when everybody was talking about, oh, he will cede some territory in exchange for whatever, like a ceasefire or something. And so that's exactly what Trump is doing on his. So Zelensky put that out after he talked to Trump. So in other words, all of this stuff has already been run by Zelensky, and he's already parroting it, you know. So, and this ceasefire is temporary, and that I think, I don't know if Zelensky put it out, but anyway, that they're not to be admitted into NATO for 10 years, and Russia, obviously, they want a permanent deal, because what this means, 10 years and all this sort of thing, and temporarily having these territories, it means what they're going to do is just like the Minsk agreement. I said that, is that they're going to build up weapons and weapons like you'd never believe for Ukraine, and then they're going to attack again to try to take that back. And Zelensky doesn't make any secret about that. He says, well, maybe we need a lot more to take the Crimea back, but they're not going to give up, you know. And for most of history, as you guys know, I mean, if you studied it, it's very strange. It's very strange how this all works. But for most of history, those lands always belonged to Russia. And they got the Crimea in 1950, I don't know. Anyway, Khrushchev gifted the Crimea to Ukraine. Lenin gifted the Donbass to Ukraine. And all sorts of things were gifted to Ukraine. I think Ukraine was actually just some small area. It was not really ever a country. Maybe for 1 year, I think in 1918, you know, you could say that it was a country, you know, but for 1 year, I think that was after World War I. But anyway, all that land for hundreds and hundreds of years, normally all was Russian, and then part of the land that they have belonged to Romania, you could say, and then in the fake countries, Joseph Stalin did a lot of that. But it's even very much like Poland. For a very short time, they had a part of Belarus, you know, the western part of Belarus. And so now they want to take that back, and they say that's their land and all that. Well, guess what? Belarus at one time had part of Lithuania, but they don't ever go and, you know, oh, the bad Lukashenko. He's never said he's going to go back and that's Belarusian territory and I'm going to take it back. He never ever said that. But yet he's a bad guy. But all these other people, they want to come. If any other territory from some country at any time, even for a short period of time, ever belonged to them, they say it's their country and they want to have it back. I think Ukraine even wants the Krasnodar and all that. I wonder if they're going to want Egypt, because they say that the Ukrainians built the pyramids of Egypt. And strange thing is, like I said in other things, and this is in school books again, I have to repeat this because it's so incredible, that Ukraine says that they dug with their bare hands, the ancient Ukrainians dug out the Black Sea, the entire Black Sea with their bare hands, you know. And obviously, if that was happening, that would have taken probably maybe around 1 million years. You know? So, but I don't know, you know, miracles can happen, because the Ukrainians also say that Jesus was a Ukrainian. So, I mean, I'd like to get some of these books. This would be just incredible. And all the BS, you know, and that they were the greatest people that have ever lived, and they are made to dominate the planet, you know. I don't think even Adolf, you know, the founding father of the ideology that controls Ukraine, Adolf from Germany, I don't think he even went this far and put up that kind of crap, the master race. So I wonder what the Ukrainians call themselves, really. Is there something bigger than the master race, or God's chosen people, or the exceptional people, you know? Like Obama says, exceptional people. That means that nobody else is exceptional. Exception is an exception. So maybe the Israelis. But no. They're God's chosen people. So how can they be exceptional? Well, they can be both. So anyway, let's get on. And somebody wrote, and they said that some things that I talk about are just way too taboo. But I'm not trying to, seriously, I'm not trying to knock down any people, especially not even the Israelis or not the Ukrainian people. I'm just going after a lot of these times these ideologies like Zionism and and this Banderitism, which is the same as Nazism, as so is the Zionism. This is just a, I don't know, what do you put it under, a blanket name calling it Nazism? Because virtually they're all the same. We are the greatest people, you know, and it's not even make America great again or something. That's not even something like that. So, I don't know. Well, look at, what is this? Some place that makes trophies. What else do we have to say here? Yeah. Oh, this stuff going on in Georgia, in the Republic of Georgia. You know, it's people watching when they hear English. Yeah, these people that's or this thing that's going on in Georgia. You know, it looks like the West. You know, mostly the United States through their puppet, which is the EU, and then you hear Kaya Kallas and all that, and then they're really threatening the legitimate government of Georgia and saying they're not legitimate, and you know, you know, it's like they want to put this president, you know, who's a figurehead position, in charge, I think, and the president was not voted. I think she was assigned by Saakashvili. And if she was to be voted, she probably would have never been voted because she's actually French. She's born in France. She speaks French. She had a position in NATO, and she was working for the French government, I think ambassador of the French government in Georgia at one time. It just so happens that she has some ancestry, and maybe her parents were actually Georgian. I have no idea, but she's more French than she is Georgian, you know. So, and you know, in other words, European Union, and her time of service is up pretty soon. I think I didn't mention that, but you know, and then she says she's not going to step down, and she's trying to get she's gone to the universities and told them to get out there and start protesting on the streets. She's going around and trying to get everybody to protest, you know. And then you have the European Union pushing, and they're doing all this stuff. But no. Russia meddles in the elections. Russia meddles, but they don't meddle in elections. I mean, oh, shh, don't look there. Don't put a label on what we actually do. It's like the United States as well, you know. I'm not talking about Victoria Nuland handing out cookies, but Victoria Nuland, she's back. I'm back, baby. This time she's getting some position. Let's see if I can find that in here. That was really interesting, you know, finding out about old Victoria. I'm gonna let these people get by here. Second here. So I talked about Trump's peace plan, and oh, they're coming for me. So I was having something. What was I saying about here? Well, I should mention something else about Georgia. You know, the whole thing about, you know, who's going to be in charge of a country. It doesn't matter how competent anybody is. I mean, you're looking at about any sort of government positions, you know, now in the West. I mean, you look at the United States, and that's one thing, you know. And they look at, say, for example, Ursula von der Leyen. She was at one time, like I said, the Minister of Defense for Germany, and Germany, their military was in the worst state it ever has been after she left that and became, you know, what did we call it, the commissioner or president or whatever it is of the European Union. And everything she says is lies and exaggeration. Like, that's why they call her Ursula von der Leyen. And then you look at, for example, who's from the Greens party, Baerbock. I mean, 360 degrees. Look at the stuff that comes out of her mouth. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I guess she used to work for the World Economic Forum before, and I mean, I've heard about what she did. I don't know. You know, is that true or isn't it true? You know, there's rumors going around, and sort of like, and it's not really even rumor, it's pretty much way too many witnesses. For example, about Kamala Harris and her past, and how she got to where she got. And it's like, apparently she's never been elected for anything anywhere at any time, and yet she was running for presidency of the United States. That's amazing. That's similar to Obama. Obama, his political career consisted of 2 years as a senator, which whenever there was important votes, I guess he was gone all the time. Votes were, that were controversial. That's quite a career as well. So Victoria Nuland, she's back. She's on the board of directors for the NED. And that's a big thing right there. I wrote down, when was it started? It was officially started. The NED, National Endowment for Democracy, was started in 1983, and obviously, and they've admitted it, they said that it's a branch, obviously, of the CIA. And at one time, let's see, I even wrote who said that. One of the directors. Director William Casey was a creator, one of the creators of it, the newer version of it. In 1986, high executives in the NED admitted their purpose, and they said it is to legitimize the CIA operations abroad. So, then and there was another person. Did I write his name down here? Maybe I didn't. Anyway, another guy. He said they've been operating. He said it in 1991. Oh, Alan Weinstein admitted in 1991. He said they had been operating for over 25 years. So they were already doing all of this nastiness since the 1970s. Wow. And all these color revolutions have all been with the engineering of the National Endowment for Democracy, making the world safe for democracy. And who was it? Maria Zakharova. She just said something about, this pardoning of Hunter Biden just some days ago, even after Joe Biden said he'd never pardon that. It's never going to happen. He's going to let justice take its course. And then, of course, he pardoned Hunter Biden. And she's talking about that's democracy. That's democracy in the West. And along with that, Colonel McGregor, he just put out yesterday, he put out a tweet, I guess you'll find it in writing, that he said that he had gotten news from like a staffer in the White House that Biden was threatened, Joe Biden was threatened by Hunter Biden. He said he had written a book and he's going to expose all sorts of things of what happened in the past few years, the last few years, unless he gets a pardon. And I guess the very next day, he got a pardon. He got a pardon from old Joe, So, in other words, there's a lot of things. The Bidens aren't corrupt. Who would ever suggest such a thing? I mean, come on. Look at old Joe. Old Joe, he's not a corrupt guy. I mean, there's a lot more about the Bidens than most people even talk about, I guess, And I'm not talking about, Joe Biden, when he took a shower and what small person was in the shower with him at that time. And yeah, Joe Biden, he has a daughter as well. So, okay, let's just not talk about that. I don't know what kind of trouble I'll be getting in. And anyway, she wrote about that in her diary. And when her diary disappeared, I think somebody had it. I guess there's some big story about that. And of course, that's been hushed up too. I guess you can find it. I don't know what her first name is, but anyway. But a lot of this stuff, I guess, is in the diary. So it was really, really something to try to get this diary. Okay. And should I get to the big news now? I don't know. Even though let's get rid of some of this other stuff before I get to the big news. Zakharova, I talked about her. Talked about what is this? This president of Georgia. I think I always called her, even back when I was doing the live podcast almost a year ago. I called her Sour Bitch Villy, because that's kind of, it starts with a Z. Sour. Anyway, it's kind of like Sour Bitch Villy, so that's what I call her. And I guess I've seen these other sites, they're now calling her with bitch too. So, yes. Oh, another piece. This is one I got to be careful about. There was this thing going on this sickness for those years ago, and now the House of Representatives has issued a report, I believe it was after 2 years of investigation, and talking about this pandemic, I should say. I can say that, I believe, and that it was all a huge, huge fraud, and all of this stuff was fake. You know, I mean, that I think they now are saying something about that it could be a lab leak and all that sort of thing, or that it probably was. I can't exactly, I don't really know what it says, but I didn't make too much writing on that because I already know all that stuff anyway, and you guys all do too. Oh, Matthew Miller, he put out the sanctions on Syria will stay because, and he said this, because Assad is a brutal dictator. Even though we don't have any information that he's ever killed anybody or done anything wrong, that Christian leader, he's a Christian leader. I mean, did you hear that? Christian leader. We don't want those Christian leaders in there, you know, but shh, don't tell anybody that he's a Christian, you know, and you know, and you remember, look at all these massacres he did. He did, let's see, well, what did he do? He killed them, remember that oh yeah, see, I told you, he was a bad guy, you know? It's like weird. Anybody, even people that I respect, you know, say, oh, well, I'm not going to say that I support him or anything like that. But, you know, strange thing is, I have never heard anybody say any information of anything that Assad has ever really done. Any kind of this, that, or the other thing. Never, ever, ever. And remember, they had this like supposed gas attack, and that's been a proven fact that he did not do that, and he wouldn't do it on the day that the UN inspectors are coming, and if he did. And they had the white helmets there, and none of them were wearing any protective clothing whatsoever, or masks or gloves when they were treating people. And I mean, and you can go on, and I guess they knew what it was, and it wasn't what they said, you know, this. And then he gave any chemical weapons that he had, but he never used, he gave them to Russia, and they were all destroyed. And I don't know if that was obviously some sort of a deal between Russia and Syria. Oh, policeman back there. Russia and Syria, that you know, Russia's going to, you know, help protect them a little bit. So that's what that's all about. And yes, and before I even talk, I'll just mention something. Trump. Let's get into this Trump thing now. So this is kind of related. If you remember what happened, supposedly it was supposed to be happening on October 6th, at least the reports that you get in the West, that Hamas, they went in and they killed a whole bunch of, I think first I don't know how many, they say thousands or something of Israelis, and took some hostages and all that sort of a deal. And then they were raping and killing all of these people. Oh man. Until this truck goes by, noisy truck. And that was this October 6th stuff. And right away, it turned out to not be true. You had these witnesses, people that actually lived, and they were saying, you know, yeah, there was people were killed and all, but it was Israel that was doing it. They were driving over people with tanks. They were shooting into the houses with tanks, and sometimes, obviously, it was to get somebody from Hamas, one Hamas people, but they would kill many Israelis, and there were Apache helicopters, and they were flame throwing all over these cars. They destroyed huge amounts of cars, lots of destruction, lots of, you know, dead, but it was, the number of dead was nothing near what Israel said. And it was, of course, and this was put out in most part. You can look up the director of Gray Zone, which is Max Blumenthal, one of the greatest investigative reporters in the world. And guess what? He's Jewish, a Jewish reporter, and he's talking about, you know, what really happened. And he has a lot of information. He's got credentials like you would never believe. He's like my favorite truthful reporter when he puts out information. And there's been so many witnesses from Israel talking about what's going on. And then some of these hostages that are, at least, you know, there's no rapes at all. And I remember Roger Waters from Pink Floyd talking to Piers Morgan, and he was saying that, oh, there was rapes. Piers Morgan is trying to insist on that. And there's no evidence. Roger Waters. He's saying that there is none. There's zero, absolutely zero evidence, zero witnesses that there was any rapes going on and anything like what the Israelis are saying to make everybody, think brutal and terrible Hamas. Terrible, 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 terrible that they do this stuff. Just like the brutal Assad. I mean, boy, some of these people, they really know how to use the media and make everybody think something that is not true whatsoever and demonize people. They were doing that with Trump. But Trump was very good himself to counter all of this. But anyway, look up Max Blumenthal. And in fact, a lot of these hostages that were released by Hamas in the meantime, they were all saying that they were treated very well, that even these Palestinians or Hamas, they would sacrifice their own food to give to the hostages and made sure that they were safe. They did it as much as possible and they were comfortable and all that sort of thing. And then some of this was coming out, and Israel said any of these hostages that talks to the press will pay this huge fine. I think it was $3,000 something or $30,000 or something like that. Anyway, they're told not to talk to the press. So, figure that one out. Not very difficult. Okay, now we get to Trump. Sadly, Trump, he's come out and said that, I don't know if his exact words were that there will be hell to pay for Hamas unless the remaining hostages, which maybe there's 100, and that unless they get released before he is inaugurated. And anyway, he's threatening huge destruction, like a big war. And he said, that if they do not release them, it's going to be the biggest destruction that the U.S. has ever done in world history, in their entire history. Apparently he's trying to say that he's gonna to destroy maybe Gaza, I guess. I don't know, but he's talking really, really, really tough. Just like he said the other day that virtually he's going to destroy BRICS. So look at what kind of presidency we're going to have coming in. I was saying that at least he's not going to be using bombs and violence, if he's going to go out and try to destroy. He's going to do it with lots of threats. Not just threats, but he's going to do it with actions. He's going to go after anybody who does not put America first. Anybody virtually on earth. You will get on your knees for America's. America first for the entire world. And everybody's going to have to be paying a price. Apparently he's even talked to Justin Trudeau. Something about putting tariffs on things coming from Canada. I don't know. But anyway, this thing about Hamas, boy, oh boy, oh boy, it's a real. This is a threat of real violence. Apparently, I mean, at least it's not difficult to read between the lines. Yeah. So he's ignoring all the truth about what happened on October 6th at that time, and that the brutal Hamas, and he doesn't mention anything about the thousands of hostages and lots of torture that the Israelis do against Palestinians, even children and all that. They even take men, even if they're young men, nothing to do with Hamas. And I don't know, should I even, they rape them like with baseball bats and things like that. Really terrible stuff. A lot of people die there. They give them only barely enough food to live. No medications, whatever, things like that. The usual stuff, And, oh yeah, well, anyway, I should have said this beforehand. It was it's other information. Oh, look at the little squirrel. Where are you at, boy? I don't have anything for him. Look at the funny ears they have. But anyway, what I didn't say is, was it Blinken? Yeah, they said just announced, was it yesterday, another $725 million for Ukraine. They can't shovel, he's even said a couple of days ago, they're going to try to be shoveling in money to Ukraine as fast as they possibly can, But I don't know, how many billions and billions of dollars have they given to Ukraine, So, a lot of squirrels over there. Squirrels. What else did I say? Anything about Blinken here? Yeah. Anyway, I guess maybe we can. Thanks the American taxpayers, So they're going to thank you guys for killing Ukrainians, Oh, wait, no, wait, that's to kill Russians. No, wait a minute. Thereby doing so, it's like what is it? I don't know. How many Ukrainians die for every Russian they kill? Oh, you know, lots and lots of Ukrainian. But it's a price that they're willing to pay in Ukraine. You know, terrible. It's a price the American taxpayers are willing to pay to kill Russians. You know, kill Palestinians. I mean, boy, all the bad guys. Yes. So, anything else? Well, mostly that, just about Donald Trump, you know, and you guys can figure out all that stuff yourself. He's just promising, I mean, I think he was the peace president. I don't know, but he's promising a lot of war. So, and that's about all I have for all you guys today. Try to keep this a little bit short. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.